Today's video, we're talking about campaign limited by budget, that little warning, if you will, or notification symbol that you get next to your campaigns in Google Ads. When Google basically wants you to spend more money. Sometimes them wanting you to spend more money will make you more profit, sometimes it won't. I'm going to differentiate both of those for you in today's video, which is why I wanted to title this video what this really means. Because if you read the book, the official answer from Google is your ads are not running all day long. I can tell you definitively, because I manage dozens of ad accounts on an ongoing basis for clients, this isn't necessarily what it is. And being paid on performance at our agency, we can't just listen to whatever Google wants, unfortunately. So with that said, I'm going to explain the details on that, and then this certainly will make you a lot of money. You just have to know the nuances to this so you don't fall for the newbie mistakes associated with it and just make Google's pockets fatter instead of yours. You both can win, but you can't just take their advice, to raise your budget blindly, as is with a lot of things that Google tries to help you do. So with that said, I'll get into the content here. So when you see that, limited by budget that pops up next to your campaign, okay, what you should automatically think from now on is there's three possible scenarios going on from that message on that particular campaign. One, either your ads are not running all day long, meaning like you have a campaign, it's running, the ad's only running to 5 p.m., then they shut off. That's the official statement from Google as to what they're saying, what's going on with it. Two, Google wants you to do more testing, aka spend more money. Now, I'm not saying Google's deliberately trying to rip people off or their customers off. Certainly, Google would like you to make more money if they can make more money, and so both parties win. Also, they want people to stick around if possible. But you got to realize Google's systems set up all on machine learning and AI, and with that, they're trying to find the best advertisers that are supposed to be at the top of Google for their audience, so that their audience, their users that use Google, get a good experience. And you give Google a budget, and Google tries to put you in front of the most relevant people possible to get you the sales that you ultimately want, okay? Eventually, Google will, with your daily budget that you have set up now, find ways to free up new budget so that it can test out new things that you're not already running your ads on from the parts of your spend that aren't producing any sales at all or any leads at all. And naturally, Google can try to find you more customers without necessarily spending more money, okay? And the reason for this is, by the way, yes, you're targeting the same keywords, but because the keywords are not, obviously if you check your search terms report, what you show up for and what keywords you're bidding on are two different things. And this is obviously talking about search campaigns, display campaigns, YouTube, all that's different but similar. And anyway, in a lot of situations, Google needs more budget to try to get you more customers. And just realize in that scenario that anything they try, because it's just at the end of the day, it's still just a stupid computer script that's deciding how to get you customers that only understand so much, that they're going to try wrong a bunch of times before they try right. What they want you to do is give them a bunch of money, so that at the end of spending a bunch of money, they find out some new customers and new placements that will get you new customers from now on at a decent rate per customer, but they're going to waste a bunch of money up front to do that. So the problem is here for new advertisers or people who don't manage a ton of ad accounts is they don't know the difference between the 1 and the 2 here. Reality is it's usually some combination of 1 and 2 both, okay? But there is sort of a way to tell if you fall into category 1 here or category 2. The larger of jump and daily ad budget that Google wants you to make or suggests you to make, because obviously if you click on limited by budget, it's going to say, we recommend you spend X. And that X, what I'm telling you here is the higher it is from your current ad budget / the bigger the jump, percentage-wise jump from your current ad budget as per what you're spending now to the place they want you to be is, the more likely you fall into this second category here. So if you're spending 100 a day and Google says, we want you to spend 300 a day, 90% of what they're saying that you should do, it probably falls into this second category. Why? Because it's not going to be easy for Google to find out, if you really are just starting out and you've been running ads for like a month and you had a $10 a day ad budget on a campaign, for them to want you to go from $10 to $30 a day, that's not too hard for them to be able to do that. However, if you're spending 100 a day and they want you to go to 300 a day, it's less likely that they already have customers lined up and they just got to run your ad all day long, and they probably got to do some testing on their end. So I will add to that, the higher the budget you have now, and then on top of that, the higher the jump they want you to make, the more likely that they're going to be doing testing to find you customers, which means you're not going to get customers at a good ROI right away, than just, them opening up the ads that you're running so they run all day long, basically, okay? So with all that said, in terms of actual concrete information to go on here, to use this limited by budget to make more profit without losing money, or try to lose as little as upfront as possible before you start making more money, which is basically what everybody wants to do. They want to make more money, but they don't want to take a huge hit before they make all that money. The proper thing to do would be to ask yourself right away, from that campaign, are you hitting your target cost per lead or cost per sale ROI from that campaign? Because if you're not, you don't take Google's suggestion to spend more money at all, because there's no point. And this is where a lot of people go wrong, and Google basically wins, right? Google can tell people, oh, your ads are not running all day long, and they'll just spend more and get away with it, because people don't even know their ads are not even making a profit, because they don't know their numbers. Before you run any ads on Google, and if you're already running ads, before you move forward, you should figure out what your numbers need to be profitable. ROI or cost per lead. And then, for people that are doing lead generation, most people just completely struggle with knowing what they can pay for a lead to be profitable. You got to be able to divide the number of customers you have in your business divided by the amount of revenue you have in your business to have average revenue per customer. Then you got to divide the total number of leads you've had divided by the total number of customers you had, define your lead closing rates, and then you got to be able to then from there do the math to figure out what you could pay for a lead. And so that you could, to make an accurate decision here as to whether or not you need to actually increase your budget on that campaign, or wait for that campaign to come around, get you your cost per lead, then you can start taking Google's advice about this limited by budget, okay? On the revenue side, by the way, if you're doing e-commerce and you got a target ROAS, know that in e-commerce businesses, between 1/3 and 2/3 of your conversions won't be counted by Google's tracking system, because there's a number of different reasons why the tracking is always going to be off. And the bigger the cost of the product that you're selling, the more that it'll be off, the more that it'll be undercounted, basically. So you want to consider that when trying to decide if your campaign is profitable. So and with that, to determine if you should take Google's advice to increase that budget and on that limited by budget campaign. So in an e-commerce, increasingly anymore, what we're trying to do for those businesses, by the way, is just, instead of looking at the ROI settings of the campaign, we look at to see if our ratio of total sales in the company to ad spend is in the margins we want. And if it is, then we'll use that as a determination to see if we should raise our ad budget on Google. And then if we do, we try to make sure that the sales come up with a proportional amount. And if they do, then we'll raise the budget up again, get the sales to go up again. That's a much better way to scale an account than trying to use the ROAS numbers inside your account, because they always undercount by some degree. So you don't really know what the ROI is of your campaign. The tracking inside your account is great for determining, should you do more of male versus female or old versus young, that kind of thing. But to know what your actual profit margin is by looking at that tracking that Google has, it's not set up well for that. There's too many web browsers who don't use cookies anymore. There's too many people who get to your site and then are going to buy 3 months later when they're comfortable with buying, because they do research way before they buy in a lot of markets. And if you don't, people that are even looking for stuff like a new roof, they'll start searching in December and buy in March. So you got to realize this stuff going in. Otherwise, you're just going to be too close-minded about what you're doing, and you're never going to make the millions of dollars from your ads. So anyway, you got to know if your campaign's profitable before you even do anything. If you think it is, then if you're going to take advantage of this limited by budget, you're going to raise your budget if you're going to do it safely. So instead of having your account and the campaign you're talking about here with the limited by budget is getting, let's say, a $100 a lead cost, and that's what you need to be profitable. And Google is saying you could spend twice as much. You're spending $100 a day on that campaign, you can spend $200, okay? Instead of just going from $100 a day to $200 a day instantly like they want you to do, what I'm telling you to do is go from $100 a day to $125 a day. Even though that limited by budget warning will still be there, you can at least then see if the campaign maintains that cost per lead, that $100 cost per lead that you need on the new $125 a day budget instead of the $100 a day budget. Okay, so and if it is, you can raise that ad budget another 25%. So you'll break that increase they want you to do into 4 segments, and I'll break it up 2 weeks apart. So I'll raise it, I'll wait 2 weeks, see what my numbers are. If the cost per lead has went up, then I'll wait another 2 weeks and check it again. If it's still not where it was before, I'll wait another 2 weeks and so forth until that campaign has the cost per lead where it needs to be. And that's a much better way to go from where you're at and to where your cost per lead does not go down drastically before you get a lot more conversions. Because obviously everybody wants more sales, but if you want to maintain that ROI, making a huge jump in your ad budget like that, surely if you were at like $100 a lead and you went from 100 a day to 200 a day right away, you're probably going to get your cost per lead to go down to like 50. Eventually it'll come back up to 100, but it might take 2 or 3 months to get there again. Can you handle your campaign going down to $50 a lead for 2 or 3 months before it hits 100? So the plus side from just doubling your campaign budget like Google is suggesting you to do in that scenario is you're going to get to twice as many sales from that campaign in a shorter period of time. So if you don't have to have an instant return on your money, then you take Google's advice and you just do the increase bang right away. If you can't, and you're bootstrapping your company, and you need the sales and the profit that you're getting to finance more ad spend, then you break that increase down into smaller sections, and then just do the sections one at a time while you monitor your cost per lead or your ROI in that campaign and make sure that it's coming along and is maintained while you do these budget increases, if you will. So if you are to raise your budget, the campaign is producing what you wanted to do, and you want a clean rise to the top, meaning you have the cost per lead not fluctuating, ROI not fluctuating as you're increasing, then don't increase the budget of that campaign more than 25% of the size of that budget as it is right now. So if you're at $1,000 a day budget and Google is saying you spend $1,500 a day, don't do it, because that's more than a 25% jump in your daily budget. More than a 25% jump in your daily budget in one shot, one increase, is likely to drop your cost per lead or your ROI by doing that all in one shot. Because it's more, like I said before, it's more likely that Google has to do some testing first before they get you the additional customers at the same cost per customer that you had before. And if it's a smaller increase, then they're more so going to be tapping into just having your ads show up all day long, if that makes sense. And this again applies to display campaigns, YouTube campaigns, discovery campaigns. If you're running any other Google ad campaigns besides search campaigns, it's the same deal. Basically, there'll be ammo there, if you will. There'll be ad inventory you can immediately tap into that'll get you more sales at the same cost per sale you're paying, but Google, of course, wants you to increase your budget and do more, give them money to test to get you more customers as well. So the bigger the increase, the more likely it is that they're going to have to do testing to find you those customers than just having your ads run a little bit more to the existing people that they know already work. Okay? So that's the safe way to take advantage of a limited by budget situation for a campaign. I'm always going to take advantage of the limited by budget. I get very excited seeing that because I know that's going to be an opportunity for the campaign to scale. If we don't have to get creative as an ad strategist to scale when Google is saying limited by budget. We just have to take that advice Google's given us, increase our budget a little bit, see them deliver, and then raise it again, and hopefully, if we're trying to increase our sales by 25% a quarter, which is a pretty reasonable goal, then all we got to do is take the campaigns that are limited by budget and increase those specifically, and then keep going. 25% increase in sales a quarter, by the way, is a pretty, that's already a pretty aggressive goal, by the way. A lot of people that start out doing business on Google, they expect their sales should be like able to triple every year. Very rarely are people going to be able to do that unless you're starting out from scratch. A better goal is to try to increase your sales by 10 to 25% a quarter. And using the limited by budget thing is a great thing. Of course, you're not going to get by with just that alone. You're going to have to create other strategies. You're going to have to run display ads. You're going to have to run YouTube ads sometimes to expand what you're doing on search ads, so on and so forth. But at least half the time, you're probably just going to be able to take advantage of, on the campaigns you already have, increasing the budget on the campaigns that say limited by budget, and then use that to get your next 10 to 25% increase in your sales from Google Ads and from your account that you're looking for. So with that said, I'll wrap it up with that. Hopefully that made sense. If you liked the video, I'd appreciate giving the video a like. And if you have any questions about anything I asked, leave me a comment below. In fact, if you have any questions about anything ad related, I'd be happy to try to answer your questions regardless if it's related to this topic of this video or not. If you are looking for excellent information on how to make millions of dollars with your ads, you should consider subscribing to this channel, as this information I'm giving you here on this channel comes straight from the source on somebody who manages dozens of ad accounts and just does the strategy on those ad accounts for a living. I don't run a YouTube channel to make money from ad money or sell courses or any of this bullshit where most of the other people that have big followings on YouTube are doing. So they're just speculating. They don't have the information you want. Therefore, you should subscribe to the actual information that's going to work. Furthermore, if you like my channel, by the way, you'll love my blog at guaranteedppc.com/blog, where you can find other advice from myself in written form, as well as on my column at entrepreneur.com. If you are looking for an ad manager, either now or in the future, I am the best ad manager you're going to find to be able to work on your stuff. And in fact, to prove that, we offer guaranteed results on our clients' campaigns, in that if our agency is going to take you on, we will guarantee you a certain minimum amount of increase in your sales or leads up front before you pay a fee. That increase will generally, and the fee that we charge, will be already covered in the additional profit we make you up front as a way to have our earn-in on your relationship. So the only catch is we don't work with just any company. We got to see how physically how we're going to be able to get results on your campaign. But if you want to see if we can work together, you should reach out to my agency, and I'll be glad to give you a free analysis on what you're doing and try to estimate how much sales results is possible on your campaign short term. So reach out to me if you're interested in that. GuaranteedPPC.com is where you can reach out to me. If you aren't looking for an ad manager, though, and you want to get quick results, if we've worked in your industry before, you should just simply take the ad templates we know that work for your industry. In that, we can tell you what results we've gotten in your industry before, take the templates that we've used for your industry, and then you could copy and paste the results into your ad accounts for yourself. And this is actually going to be much cheaper than building up those results for yourself, because we've ran ads in your industry for years, did all the testing, worked out what works, what doesn't work. So why not just use what we have that works for your industry? And we could tell you what results you can get in your industry with our ad templates before you would ever buy those templates. So these are very popular right now. We've got people using our templates for other side businesses that they're running and so forth because they're so effective. If you're interested to see if we've worked in your industry and what results we've gotten in your industry before, reach out to me and I'll let you know what we have. I've worked in over 100 industries now at this point in time, so chances are we've worked in your industry. But I'll wrap it up with that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you on my next video where we have another great strategy for you there. See you later.